There's a question that I get all of the time. What do you actually do? In this video, I'll be sharing with you a full, busy day for an experienced, highly talented medical device sales rep. So let's be real. Med sales is one of the most exciting, rewarding careers that you could ever step into. It's fast-paced, it's high stakes, and built for those who want to achieve something great. If you've been looking for a career where you can make an impact and build relationships and really push yourself to new heights, this is it. So let's break it down. What does a real day in the life look like? So it's bright and early, 6:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, and while most people are still snoozing, they're walking into the hospital, they're prepared and ready for a 7:30 a.m. surgery. They say their hellos on the way. They likely know more people than anyone else in that hospital, and people know them first name basis because this person has been going to that hospital for a while, and they earn the right to be in that hospital, and they earn the right to be respected, and that's their home. It's one of the places that they go, not the only place that they go, where they feel like family in there. And at times, they feel like the star of the show because they've earned it. They get to the floor where the operating room is. They go to the locker room, they change into their scrubs, and they enter into that semi-sterile area. They have their badge, and they get right to work, which means they have to make sure that all of their implants and all their instruments are there, the right sizes. They're checking the board to ensure that the surgeries that they thought were going to be that day are still on. And then they get into that room. They get into the operating room before the patient rolls in. They respect the sterile space. They're not allowed to touch anything sterile, and that rule is never broken. They know exactly how to position themselves in the room so that they are not a disruption for anyone or anything going on in the room, but still can do their work. And their work is done by keeping their eyes all over. They know what to look for, and they know how to communicate. They know when to raise their voice in the room so that people can hear them, and they know when to lower their voice so only one person that needs to hear them will hear them, and the surgeon doesn't get disrupted while they're doing their job. They're verbally communicating to people, asking or telling them what they need to be doing with the instruments and implants that they had brought into the hospital that are now sterile and being touched and utilized by the tech and the nurses, physician assistants, and or the doctors. It sounds high stakes, and it is. However, they've done this hundreds to thousands of times. If they've been doing this for over 5 years, it's probably over thousands of times that they've done this. So while it's important, it's not intimidating. So they have an air of confidence about them. And they feel confident. They're not faking. Communicate different ideas and different ways to get past the potential issue at hand. A majority of the time, these go smoothly. I've always compared this to flying. When people go on trips, so many people get nervous. They get worried. They're afraid, anxiety because they're getting into a plane and it's an uneasy feeling. However, those who travel all the time, flight attendants and pilots, they don't get worried. Every few minutes, a plane is taking off or landing. There's hundreds and thousands of planes in the sky at any moment. The same thing is going on with surgery. It seems high stakes, and it is. For every single patient, it's important. But for those, like the senior sales rep that we're talking about today, they're not intimidated. They're not worried. They are not flustered because they're an expert, and they are proud to be that expert. They ensure that the right sizes are ready, and they make sure that the tech is dialed in. The announcement is made in the operating room that they are about to begin surgery, and suddenly everyone is in game mode. A quick heads up, if you're getting value from this and you want more, check out medsalesblueprint.com. That's my website where I help people get into medical sales. I have tons of resources and tons of content. So whether you want to get in or you want to help someone get in, send them my way. I'm ready to help. You can reach out to me there, or you can also find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Back to the video. Procedure starts and the rep stands by, ready, focused, prepared. It's likely that their product won't be used for 10, 15, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour until they're even asked one question. And some of you may know this, but surgeons, a lot of surgeons, like to listen to music. They have their favorite playlist, and the circulating nurse who's sitting by the computer is in charge of the speaker, playing whatever music puts the surgeon at ease. So I hope I'm painting the picture that this is a very important setting, but it's also being done by professionals who do this on a regular basis. So there usually are smiles in the room. People are not worried, but they are prepared at any moment. Should anything go awry, they go game mode. You get a high when you're in the room. You get a high because you know you're an important piece to the puzzle of this patient getting better. So surgery ends, everything went well. Even though this rep has probably been used 1,000 times by this doctor, he still expresses his gratitude and thanks everyone in the room. Maybe he cracks a couple jokes if he's a funny guy, and then he leaves the room. He makes sure he marks down everything that was used and ready to be submitted to the hospital for future payment. But just as he's doing that, he's probably getting a call or a text, if he hasn't already, where someone somewhere in his territory needs his attention. So he checks his phone, and it turns out that a hospital will be needing his products later in the day for an add-on surgery. The surgeon has decided that this patient needs to be operated on today and is now being put on the back of the schedule, which means later this afternoon, possibly this evening. Insider tip, due to scheduling purposes, most surgeries are stacked at the beginning of the week. So as a rep, it's very good to know that you have a schedule where most people want to do their work at the beginning of the week. So back to the message that they got about the surgery. It's totally unexpected, but they're prepared. They stay cool under pressure. They stay flexible. They understand where their team members are. They understand where their instruments and implants are and how many there are. This separates the pros from the rookies. No panicking, no freaking out, understanding what you have available to you. And if you don't, you call your office, you call another rep in your area, and you figure it out. Answers come quickly because everyone is on top of their game. Medical sales reps are on top of their game. So as this sales rep is leaving the hospital, he might be texting or making some calls. In this circumstance, he reaches out to his associate sales rep who's been working for him for, let's say, a year. And this associate sales rep has been trained mainly by him in this territory, and they are competent enough to be relied upon to say, hey, this hospital needs these products for an add-on surgery later in the day. Crisis averted. And so to get a little bit more granular and add some more flavor to the story, what will likely happen is the senior sales rep is going to say, hey, look, this surgeon doesn't usually call us in for this product. They usually use our competitor. So this is an opportunity for us. So stay sharp, double check everything before you drop it off, and we'll give further guidance of what to do because of the importance of this opportunity. Thanks for watching. I hope that gave you some real insight. And if you're serious about getting into medical sales or someone you know, send them to me, medsalesblueprint.com. I have tons of resources, tons of content that help people on their way to get into medical sales fast. Phenomenal industry, you know it. People need help getting in, and that's what I'm here for.